go blue sky, so clear from my view. I'm standing still, the world still moves. I'm counting sheep to try to fall asleep, wondering why I'm the only one.
Yes, to see all of you wonderful people out there in the interwebs. I am your Ice Dragon, Rayron VR. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. My goodness, it felt like the world was just on fire. How is everyone doing? Avery, wing hugs. All the wing hugs. Wonderful way to start out. Number 5 of the Icey Lair. Alright, so we got a plethora of things to talk about. My goodness. I don't even know where to start. There was so much things was going on. My goodness. I guess we'll start off with the glorious Twitterverse. and see how the world is burning today. So let's go ahead and pop on over. So there was some interesting drama that happened, and it kind of is interesting because that's in our kind of realm a little bit here. So kind of the first thing we'll start off today is this kind of caught me off guard a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of didn't see this coming. But man, OBS issued a statement about Streamlabs. It was kind of spicy. So OBS on November 16th, near the launch of SLOBs at Streamlabs, reached out to us about using the OBS name. We kindly asked them not to. They did so anyway, and followed up by filing a trademark. We tried to sort this out in private, and they have been uncooperative at every turn. Wow. So there's a couple things to dissect from this tweet. So the first thing I want to really mention here is that OBS is technically an open... oh man, darn it, I forgot the name of the term. Open source. No, it's... they mentioned up here in a tweet. Open source. Okay. So OBS is an open source program that everyone can use to modify and so forth. Now, with it, from a legal standpoint, what Streamlabs did, they can't get legal action because OBS is open source. So everything from their name to their coding to the operations to the GUI to everything in that nature is considered open source, which means they can do whatever they kind of want. And one thing I'll look into is just to make sure what is the definition of open source. So let's go ahead and look at what the legal definition of open source software is. So we will go ahead and take a quick look here on the definition. So good old Google is going to come to my rescue. The term open source refers to something that people can modify and share because its design is publicly accessible. The term originated in context of software development to designate a specific approach to creating computer programs. Today, however, open source designates a broader set of values, what we call the open source way. The open source projects, products, and initiatives embrace and celebrates principles of open exchange, collaboration, participation, rapid prototyping, transparency, mediocrity, and community-oriented development. So that is going to be a big part in all this. So we're going to rewind the time a little bit to when I was playing Minecraft. So Minecraft was originally owned by Mojang, and then they got bought out by Microsoft. But there's something interesting about that is that Microsoft had what's called a modded community. So there was a program that allowed mod developers to access the code of Minecraft to be able to mod it. So that way they can go through Java, and that way it would actually be able to work for mod packs and texture mod packs and so forth. Now there is a critical piece to that, and I'll also bring that up next. Something to what we call a Eula Agreement. So we'll bring that up as well. So, and I will just go ahead and reference Wikipedia on this one. Not the greatest source in the world, but we'll just roll with it. So, a Eula Agreement, otherwise known as an end-user license agreement, is a legal contract entered in between a software developer or vendor and the user of the software, often where the software has been purchased by the user from an intermediary such as a retailer. A Eula specifies and details the rights and restrictions to which apply to the use of the software. So when this community came together and made up this code, always known as open broadcast software, they should have started a Eula Agreement, meaning that you can use this code, but you're gonna do it on our terms. I don't think that ever happened, and they tried to keep it true in nature. They try to keep it open, so for transparency, and then also community-oriented development. I mean, that's how, what was it, Firefox got developed and so forth. So that is going to be the interesting part. So going back to Minecraft. So going back to some particular mod packs. Now, mod packs is basically a group of mods that are together that can be executable under a different program, aka, the name escapes me. The Twitch launcher has one. I can't remember the other. Feed the Beast. That's the one. Feed the Beast. Those launchers will allow you to open the mod packs and actually run it for free. And that's the key part, is that under the Eula Agreement with Microsoft and Minecraft, you have to follow the Eula Agreement in that you cannot sell anything when it comes to mods, essentially, in this case. And actually some streamers, not going to name any names, but when they were developing their mod pack, they were giving early access to the subscribers. Seems innocent enough, but when you dig into the legal aspects of that, now you're forcing people to pay, not necessarily forcing, but incentivizing people to pay to get early access to a mod pack. So you're benefiting from the mods that are developed, violating the Eula Agreement, so you can't do that. Now, when it comes to this particular case, I don't blame SLOBs on this, because it was technically open broadcast. It was open source, and there was no Eula Agreement to do this. However, with open source, there's that key piece of community-oriented development. What SLOBs did was, they took the code and they trademarked it. This is foul. And you can Twitter just freaking blew up against Streamlabs OBS, which rightfully so, because again, this is open source. This goes against that community-oriented intent behind this particular program. And it gave them a really black eye, and they actually took OBS name and trademarked it. So needless to say, there was a lot of heat when it came to this particular issue. Now, if you're a good company, you will come out and say, okay, sorry, they'll change the name. And that's exactly what Streamlabs did. So about a few hours later, Streamlabs came out with their statement. We are taking immediate action to remove OBS from our name. Streamlabs OBS was built on top of OBS open source platform. Again, they are legally correct. They can do whatever they want because it's open source program. However, again, we go back to that definition, community-oriented development. It was in the best for the community and definitely for their bottom line, if they want to make money off of this, to basically accept their fault. Streamlabs OBS is also an open source, and our code is publicly available. Okay, so this is definitely good PR. Again, I'm looking at both sides from here. You can definitely protest and not use Streamlabs anymore, but I give props and credit where it's due. Streamlabs OBS came out publicly and actually basically told the truth. How many companies nowadays do we have that do statements like this? It is freaking rare. I was really surprised that Streamlabs even came out and commented on this, let alone be truthful. We take responsibility for our actions, and we will support the community. So this was a really good move on their part to realize that, yep, they were caught, and now they're going to correct the actions. And I think that's a very well published statement, just telling the facts and telling the truth. So again, definitely... it sucks that the part that really frustrates me, unfortunately, though, is that they trademarked it. So, and that's something that you don't see in their statement, is that were they going to diminish their trademark? So that is something that I would like to see in the future. If they're really true for the community, then they would need to really release that trademark. If not, then again, that's slummy, not really true to the community aspect. So we'll see where this goes, because I don't think this is over yet, but I think the ramifications are coming, because I'm starting to see a lot of streamers, both on the Twitch and YouTube side, start to switch. I haven't switched yet because unfortunately Streamlabs has features that I want, but I'm going to keep a close eye on that trademark to see if they get rid of it, but we will see. But man, to start the week off like this was ridiculous to say the least. But we'll see what happens, man. We will see what happens. But yeah, that definitely took me off guard. It's like, oh no, the streaming community is getting wonderful drama again. So sad. So sad. Okay. So what else do I have lined up? Okay. So the next one, you guys have probably watching the media, probably getting sick of this by now. So I'm just going to quickly and briefly defer you to another great content creator here on YouTube. And that is the wonderful Ricada Law. So Ricada Law actually helped me out personally. I'm not going to go too much into details with it, but highly recommend following this channel. He has actually helped me on a personal matter of mine. And I watched his stream of the coverage of the trial that was going on here in the U.S. So it was the Kyle Rittenhouse case. He was live streaming it for damn near, 10 hours a day. And this was really interesting because, it was being broadcast and you had several other lawyers commenting on the trial. And it was a breath of fresh air. Me personally, I am scared to death of courtrooms. I don't want to be in one, and even though I had to been in a couple times. But watching Nick Ricada's stream and all the other lawyers that were on there, it really soothed me to actually understand the process, getting all the feedback that the other lawyers provided. It was nice to see that it was an unfiltered, unbiased, and really great coverage of the trial. And then at the end of the day, the Rittenhouse was free. But beyond that, I highly recommend you guys subscribe to Ricada Law. If you guys want like a fresh perspective on how law works, him and he has other references that will take you to other lawyers that were on that panel. But it was quite refreshing because, like I said, it was unbiased. And it's like I was comparing his coverage with the media's coverage, and it was astonishingly different. You can see the narratives just pop out from media. And that really opened my eyes to say that, you know what, I am done watching any type of news media ever again because, we have peers now on this platform that are providing that information to us. I mean, it's just great. And he had over easily 100,000 to 130,000 people watching on those live streams. It was ridiculous. He gained like 100,000 subs in 1 week. It was ridiculous to see. But it was definitely refreshing to see something like that happen. And quite honestly, we saw a huge kind of shift because PBS was broadcasting this on their YouTube channel, Fox News, MSNBC, and so forth until they got kicked out, which is freaking hilarious. And Nick Ricada's stream was killing it. He was easily 3 to 4 times more viewers than the other media platforms. And it just goes to show that the common people are just they've had it. They have had it with the media. We have had it. We want unbiased opinions. And it was great because this panel that was covering the broadcast, they were fair on all sides. They were talking about the prosecution, they were talking about the judge, the jury, and the defendants. It was great to see that perspective that none of the panelists were biased. They were supporting the law, essentially. And it was great to see all those perspectives. It was really refreshing to see. And it's really, I personally am happy with the verdict. Again, we can agree, we can disagree. We can talk about it as long as we're human, we're adults. We got to have these conversations. But at the end of the day, we also got to be respectful too. And it's just great to see. So that is all I'm going to say about the case. You guys already know the verdict. You guys have seen many, many, many different takes. And I'm not gonna bore you with the details on that. And I try to stay out of politics a little bit, but sometimes, it's good to talk about the implications of what's going on in the world. So it was definitely a nice breath of fresh air with that. So it was really, really nice. And stupid me, I decided to just close out that entire window. So let me go ahead and I will bring it back up. And I'll get the tabs that I was going to work with. But yeah, it was definitely interesting to see. All right, so the next thing I kind of want to talk about, we will go ahead and look at the movies. So, an interesting movie came out today. And I got this, or no, it came out on Thursday and I was able to see it yesterday. So, this was the first movie I have seen in over 2.5 years. And we'll go ahead and I want to bring up Rotten Tomatoes since I stupidly decided to close all my tabs that I had for you guys ready. Because I'm a boomer. I boomered it. So I'm going to try to not talk about spoilers. Because I thought about, should I talk about spoilers on this? Should I not talk about spoilers on this? And I've decided not to talk about spoilers because I don't want to spoil it for you guys. And you may already know what's going on, or you may have a favorite podcast that you may want to get the spoilers from. So I think I'll just stay out of spoilers, but I'll just give you my general overview. So the movie that I saw was Ghostbusters Afterlife. And this is why I want to show Rotten Tomatoes, because again, it's a clear case. Sometimes the critics and the audience can agree. But there's times that when the critics hate it, the audience absolutely loves it. And I have seen this movie, and I absolutely love it. There's a few caveats with that. So, I felt like this movie was a little bit too long, maybe by 10-20 minutes, because I did find myself, especially towards the second act, kind of my mind started to wander a little bit because they were trying to build up the characters of the basically next generation of Ghostbusters. And that's all fine and dandy if you haven't seen like 1 and 2. But I have seen 1 and 2, so it's like the story got a little bit repetitive, and that's why I started to drift a little bit. But then that third act, oh my goodness, that third act was really good. So this movie, there's some critics out there that this kind of had the same blueprint as The Force Awakens, and I will agree that it had the same blueprints, the same kind of blueprints for the first and second act, but where it differentiated was the third act. Like in Force Awakens, we had a lot of disrespect to our main characters that were that we grew up with the original trilogy, like Han, Luke, and Leia. For The Force Awakens, we had the death of Han Solo, and it's like we never got to see everything being reunited with our 3 original characters. So again, this is gonna be a little bit of spoilers in this, but our original characters from 1 and 2. So if you don't want to. So earmuffs for the next few seconds. You ready? Okay. So this movie pays respects to the original cast. And I'll leave it at that. They did one hell of a job with the original cast. All 4 of them. And I'll leave it at that. This movie was really, really good. Because this movie finally did it. Finally paid respects to the source material. And I'm a normie when it comes to Ghostbusters because I grew up with it with my father, especially because he's the one who got me into it. And this does everything that it was supposed to do to pass the torch. It took me a while to grow into the new characters, but the way they grew into the new characters was great. They paid respects, and it's like I actually had a good time at the movie theaters. And I originally tweeted out a picture that it was empty. We had about 10 people. But that's the other concern that, I was talking about this last podcast that, it's expensive to go to the movie theaters. Like my tickets cost me around $12 just for one person, and that was with a discount. It was expensive. But seeing it on a Friday night, reliving what it's like to go to a theater and enjoy a good story just to escape a little bit, this was the movie that got me back into the seats. It wasn't these blockbuster movies coming on Disney, the special effects of superheroes and battles and explosions. No, it was a humble story respecting its roots. And going into it, I felt like that was what I was going to get, and I did. It was such a good movie. They paid so much good respects. Like, this is how you do it. And it's like all the critics and all the blue check marks on Twitter and everything saying that, oh, it's paying fan service. Yes, there was a hell of a lot of fan service, and that's what I want. That's what I pay $12 to see. You know? I want to see the little Easter eggs respectfully. I want to see the original cast respectfully. The callbacks. Because that's what made the original great. 2 + 2 = 4, you know? And that's what I got. So this is 100% justified. If you are a fan of Ghostbusters, I don't think this will disappoint you. Like, I think this is a great time to be a Ghostbusters fan. Like, this got me pumped to watch 1 and 2 again. Like, I'm going to go out and find the media because I don't have it on media or physical media. It's like, okay, let's go back to 1 and 2 just to refresh. And then I'll watch 1, 2, and this is the proper 3. That 2016 Ghostbusters was a pile of shit. And this has no callbacks to it, which is fantastic. I've got to give props where props are due. Sony, you did good with this movie. You did really, really good with this movie. Because that's the thing. It's all about that third act, how they're going to tie everything together. And where Star Wars failed to reunite Han, Luke, and Leia, this one reunited everyone. And Avery, you said it best. What is a movie without fans? Nothing. Exactly. Exactly. Because we are the paying customers. We will pay for what we want to see. If you give us fan service, then we'll give you money. It's that simple. It is that simple. And I just don't understand why these corporations, their mindset should be, okay, how can we make money? Okay, the fans want this. They're willing to pay for it. Let's give it to them. And this is what this movie did. And there's a lot of metaphors. Like this guy in particular. Again, I apologize. I don't know actors' names, the character names. I'm terrible with names. If it's one of my biggest flaws in life is like I struggle with names, hands down. But he basically, there are times that you can relate to a particular character. And this individual right here, I related a lot to him. Because he was basically exploring, having a lot of or how can I put it so I don't spoil it? In this particular shot right here, he was messing with the trap. And it's like, oh man, that thing is real. The New York incident was real. And I related a lot to that character. And it's nice. It's nice to relate to a character in a universe like this. So I highly, highly, highly recommend, if you want a good movie to watch this weekend or Thanksgiving weekend, go watch Ghostbusters Afterlife. And I'm hoping, considering how empty my theater was on a Friday night, again, it kind of goes back to, can you afford luxury? And movies are definitely getting expensive nowadays. But if you want a good movie to get back into the movie theater, this is definitely the one. I can't recommend it enough. I had a great time. And the last movie that I saw, ironically, was The Rise of the Skywalker. So 2.5 years ago, my last movie was the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. And then coming to this one, man, it was a great change. It was great to see. So, yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Definitely recommend it. If I have to put a rating on this, I would probably put it... Let's see. I want to do my own rating system. What should I use? Let's say 8 ice cubes out of 10 to be to be lame. So yeah, 8 ice cubes out of 10. It was a good movie overall. Like I said, it was a bit too long. There was a ton of fan service. There was a ton of Easter eggs. There was even a Terminator Easter egg in here. It went quick, but it was hilarious if you can catch it. Oh, it was great, especially Terminator 2. Oh, it was so good. So good. But yeah, Ghostbusters, it was a good movie. All right, so another movie that's coming out that we need to talk about. The one that I never had a trailer kind of. Okay. All right, let me mute this. Let's pause this. Let's jump into it. All right, so another trailer came out, and now this one comes from the House of Mouse. There seems to be a lot of hype for Spider-Man No Way Home. And to be honest, I am like, this is going to be an icy take, but this trailer damn near turned me off to the movie. Yeah, I came very, very close to say, no, I'm not going to go see it. Because this trailer did a few things that really kind of just irked me a little bit. Okay, yeah, fan service, we got the bosses. And again, I still stand by my statement. Spider-Man and Doctor Strange are the villains in this. It doesn't matter Doc Ock is back. Green Goblin is back. They need to find a way, a different catalyst that caused the rift in the multiverse. Because the way I see it, you had a whiny kid that was doing selfish things, and Doctor Strange went along with it, knowing how powerful the multiverse is. Those two are still the villains in my eyes. Icy take, I know, but I still stand by that. And we'll see how, because now they got to fix it for selfish acts. But let's see. So again, we go through this trailer here. Everyone knows that he's Spider-Man. They're gonna do their thing. And then this is the scene that really just makes me mad. That Doctor Strange went along with the plan. Billions and billions of people on the line, and you want to satisfy Peter Parker. And then they break the multiverse. It's like, that drives me nuts a little bit. Okay, so then we get member berries with Green Goblin. And don't get me wrong, I love Tobey Maguire's run. I love the villains. You know, a part of me was like, yes, we get to see Doc Ock back. We get to see Green Goblin back. But then this trailer does something that really ticks me off. Actually does two things. Let's go ahead. Okay, this was the first one that really irked me.
Wait, no, seriously, what's your actual name?
So they mocked Dr. Octavius. Now, okay, fine. You can get some laughs out of it, but it's like a lot of us respected Dr. Octavius as a villain, as his scientific goals that he wanted to achieve. Again, his chip broke and then he turned evil, but then he went back to being good at the very end. For the new generation Spider-Man to mock an older generation villain that's really loved, that really irked me a lot. Like that really just, it didn't sit well with me after that happened. And it's like, is that really how you're going to respect the previous characters that were loved? Even villain or non-villain? It makes me mad. Alright, so we go through. So this was the other scene that really kind of irked me. This was interesting to see Spider-Man being a wizard, essentially. Because you can see that this is the effects that Doctor Strange has.
So?
Okay, let's see.
Scoop this crap.
You know, all this is kind of your mess. I know a couple of magic words myself, starting with the word please.
Please.
Oh, this part. When MJ was mocking Doctor Strange, a part of me just died a little bit. This is Doctor Strange being schooled by MJ. I mean, MJ's right. It is your fault, which is the other issue that I have with this trailer. Or with this movie altogether. But this part, the Scooby-Doo this crap. I hate when there's pop culture reference in my movies. because then that ruins the immersion. Because now you're telling me that I know that they want us to be in there, but you do that through the characters. You don't do that with popular culture. You don't put popular culture inside another popular culture. I don't. That's just me though. But anyways, we go through. We see lots of fights. Spider-Man. So basically, the whole kind of plot behind this is that. Well, I don't want to say plot, but more of. Again, I don't want to use the theme, but themes. So the whole point behind this is that Peter Parker wants to be the good guy. However, Doctor Strange is saying that no, all these individuals are villains. And Spider-Man, depending on whatever universe came from, their fate is going to be defeat, death, and so forth. And Peter Parker doesn't want that. And so now you have this confliction of all these villains going off doing off their own things. And then you've also got Spider-Man that wants, everyone to forget who he is, but then he also doesn't want to kill all these people, so now you have a conflict of interest. And kind of a paradox, essentially, which I think is why the multiverse is going crazy, because now you kind of have paradoxes just going crazy. And then now we kind of have what I call a mini civil war between Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. So it's like, again, who's the true villains? Well, it's kind of Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. Everything else is just catalysts. It's like, okay, we got to deal with this problem, this problem, this problem. Again, kind of ranting a little bit, but it kind of frustrates me because I just want a normal superhero going after a normal villain. I would love to see Spider-Man teaming up with Doctor Strange, going up against a proper villain, not one that they caused or derived to cause. Okay, and then we see Doc Ock. I don't know what's going on with this armor here. I don't know. It looks like it's getting the Iron Man colors, so maybe we got some Stark tech that he found. But if it's one thing that is going for this movie is that our Doc Ock is back. And it's going to be interesting to see. But again, we're already starting to see mistreatment towards them from this trailer alone. Which I'm surprised that Disney put it in there. Alright, so we get Electrode. We get Sandman. We get there. So there is the Green Goblin. And yeah, that's pretty much it. MJ basically falls. So and then the multiverse is continuing to break. And that's pretty much it. So here's the thing about this. We are about less than a month away from this trailer. So December 17th. We're in what? This November 20th. Okay. So we are less than a month and few days away from this movie being released. Disney should be generating hype. Okay, this is fine in hype. 8 million people to 253,000 likes to 3.9 thousand dislikes. That is hype. But I think this number could have been double that. And why I say that is because this trailer is missing two critical things. And I'll allow you guys to guess. It's pretty simple. I think anyone with common sense can understand what those two things are. In a multiverse, Spider-Man. Where's Tobey Maguire? Where's Andrew Garfield? If you had that epic shot of all three, this would be a lot higher. You would have broken the internet with those three together. Because yes, the story looks flawed. There's a lot of fan service with the villains, even though they're being mistreated a little bit. But this trailer just falls just short, I think, of what it could have been. You would have broken the internet, Disney, if you would have, and Sony, if you would have had those three in one single shot. Even a frame, one frame can break the internet. You had the golden goose in your hands. You had billions of dollars ready to go being handed over to you. if you just had one frame. Same thing with Star Wars. One frame. Reunited Han, Luke, and Leia. This is what happens when corporations dictate story. These movies, these so-called blockbuster movies, are run by corporations, by bureaucrats, trying to optimize to a woke, quote-unquote woke direction, popularity, and so forth. It's crazy to think that one frame, one single frame of having these three together could have just tipped people over to actually go watch it. But we didn't. Instead, we get all the villains. Now, this is speculation. They may be saving it for a different trailer. But again, word of mouth requires one variable, and that's time. Word of mouth gets its most power with time. And I guarantee you that one frame would have generated so much hype and word of mouth to go out, to build this up. But they didn't do it. And that's what concerns me. And it's like, the hype right now and the expectation from fans is that all three will be reunited. This is their one shot to do it. If they want the money that they want, they need to cater to fans and to what we want. It's those expectations. They need to stop subverting to expectations. That phrase needs to go burn in hell, because you are not going to get your money when you do that. And I gotta give credit where credit is due. Looks like the trailer did help them, because the stock is slowly starting to go back up. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's the stock market. So it looks like it's on a flat line. I'm hoping that goes back down. But that goes to say, though, sure, you've got 8 million views, you know. You got 253,000 likes. Cool. Likes equals zero money, 0 cents, $0. Okay, I can't necessarily say that because you do make some money on the YouTube side. Fine. 8 million views, yeah, you'll get your money. That's a nice, decent check from the YouTube side. But here's the thing. It's for IGN. So they're going to get a cut of it. Maybe. Again, I don't know the contracts behind the scenes. The stock market, you would think, with a trailer like this with 8 million views, with 253,000 likes, would also translate to the stock market. But it didn't. Sure, it rose a little bit. It's coming up. But the projection is going to be flatlining a little bit. I guarantee you, if one frame with all three Spider-Mans would have been in that trailer, this would be a lot different. Because then word of mouth can get out. Word of mouth can go to people being hype, telling people to go, to actually spend the money. If you follow the trends of what people are talking about, that's when the stock market will respond to that. Again, it's all speculative, and I really don't have evidence to determine if those two have a correlation, but I think they do. I think they do. Interesting. It's amazing how one frame can make or break a company. That's my argument. So Spider-Man No Way Home, I'll probably still end up watching it because I've done one video on the first trailer. I spent a good amount, about 20 minutes talking about it here, so I'll probably end up watching in theaters to see how this goes. Because I gotta put my money where my mouth is. And we'll see if we get to see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Now, granted, I don't care about Andrew Garfield. I didn't like his movies at all. I think they were hot trash. But it's all about the fans. There were fans that liked it. And I think it's just about the message that we send to them. That if you bring back these characters and have a great battle off, then we'll give you the money. But here is the problem, though, and this is, again, a trend with Disney. Just looking at the trends from previous movies, I've got a sneaky suspicion that we may not see the other two, and I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong on this. This will be another icy take. But if I were in Disney's shoes and Sony's shoes, they would want to prop up Tom Holland's Spider-Man as best as they can. Because this Tom Holland, what they can do with this character is that they can have him go solo on all the fights. And if he is victorious on all the villains, then they can make the statement that this Spider-Man is the best Spider-Man because he defeated all of these villains. Whereas the other ones defeated their own individual ones. But this Spider-Man is the best Spider-Man. This is the best Spider-Man timeline, multiverse, because he was tested with all of the other Spider-Mans from all, or the villains from all the other universes, and he came out victorious. Sounds like something that Disney would do. Again, I'm just speculating. But then they can put it to bed saying that, oh yeah, Andrew Garfield, yeah, he was just a Spider-Man in his universe. Same with Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire. But it makes no sense because we're starting to see a lot of proof that they're in this movie within the credits and everything. So, but the other thing I'm kind of concerned about with that is, yes, they are in there in the credits. However, how are they going to use them? We don't know. We don't know if we're just going to use their voices. Sound familiar? What other movie came out under Disney's regime that just used voices of other beloved characters? Gee, Rise of Skywalker comes to mind. Remember how they said that, yeah, we're going to have Anakin. Mace Windu's going to be in here too. Yeah, they were in voice only. Who's not to say that they're going to do pull that kind of shenanigans in this movie? A bit cynical, yes. But Disney needs to put the money where their mouth is too. We need to see these characters. So we shall see what happens. We shall see. But yeah, I never really had a trailer make me mad and almost change my decision not going. I'm going to go just for the sake of research now instead of enjoyment. Just to see what happens, see if any of these speculations is right. I never really went into a movie speculating on so many things. But this one, I'm ready for it. And we'll see what happens. We shall see. So that is my take of Spider-Man No Way Home. Again, it's a strong negative take. Just because I didn't see what I wanted to see. And yeah, again, that's my opinion. That's filled with bias because I am definitely a Tobey Maguire fan when it comes to Spider-Man. And I want to see him in there. So there are some caveats and some bias towards that. But hopefully the next trailer is good. We'll see. We shall see. All right. And then probably the last topic of the day. I just need to find it. Kind of two things. Actually, a few things. We got a few little things. This will be kind of the quick random section, and I'll include space into this. But got this from the wonderful Master of TDS. Go follow him over on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. He's doing a lot of great content for the community. But caught this little retweet here, also from Bounty into Comics. So, good old Cowboy Bebop, the live action adaptation of the anime / manga version. Needless to say, it's flopping. Bad. Just seeing all the reviews, seeing what, that's when you know your product is shitty, when the critics and the audience are in agreement. And I'm actually curious what it's at now. Because when they both agree, especially at the near same rating, that's when you know you screwed up. You've done fucked up. Yeah, so it's still at 51% with the critics, quote unquote critics. And then the audience score at 50%. So, average rating of 2.7 with 544 ratings. Damn. Get wrecked. Get wrecked. And this is something that I've always said. Live action adaptations can be good, but you got to keep in mind that live action is limited by reality and how much money you have, basically. If you want a good story from the manga or the anime, read the manga or watch the anime. And I always argue read the manga because the stuff that manga can do that animation can't do because of broadcasting, censorship, and so forth. Manga has a better, has more leeway in printed form. And I think that's what makes it better, in my opinion. So I just want to touch upon that. Yeah, Kids Like Cowboy Bebop is a massive flop. Alrighty, and then we'll go back to our Twitter feed here. Talked about that. Oh, yeah, so the Gaming Awards. The Gaming Awards. So we've got our joke of a thing called the Gaming Awards. And we've got our nominations. So I just wanted to quickly touch upon this. So Game of the Year, Deathloop, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet & Clank, and Resident Evil Village. Most of these I have heard, but I haven't really watched anyone play it. And I haven't played it all, so it's like, meh, okay. Just another year that I haven't played any of these games that I really haven't heard of. Best Game Direction, again, kind of the same ones here. Best Ongoing. So obviously I played Fortnite. Wanted to get into Genshin Impact, but a lot of good friends told me to kind of stay away from it due to microtransactions. Apex Legends, I played it. Warzone, seen a lot of people play it. And honestly, Final Fantasy, I think that's 14 online. I've heard nothing but great feedback and content on Final Fantasy. Like, this is probably the one that I'm going to get into relatively soon because I've been seeing a lot of people playing it. And it looks really interesting, to say the least. So probably will get into it sometime in the future. Best indie game, 12 Minutes, Death's Door, Bridge of Spirits, Inscription, and Loop Hero. So the best indie category, I haven't heard of any of these games. I'll have to do some research on them. Best debut indie. Okay, so now we got multiple. We got Bridge of Spirits, Sable, The Artful Escape, Forgotten City, and Valheim. So I am biased towards this one. I want Valheim to win. I had a couple friends of mine that we've been playing this pretty heavily. And those who are, cause I kind of follow the sandbox community type of streamers, content creators. So Valheim, when that came out, everyone and their mother was playing it. So I'm hoping that Valheim wins that one. Best narrative. Oh, goodness. Are you kidding me? Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy got nominated. That was a trash game. Bugs, repetitiveness. grindy as all hell. Microtransactions that were bad. Spider-Man on an exclusive platform. Dumb that this is nominated. And again, I've heard of it, but never played of it. Best art direction, again, you're starting to see a trend with these mainstream games. Best score in music, again, Marvels. Again, it's for music though. Cyberpunk. I think that was the biggest flop of the year. Probably almost the worst game of the year, considering how bad it launched. And that was a super hyped game. Best audio design, meh. Best performance, I really don't care about best performance. Games for impact. Before Your Eyes, Boyfriend Dungeon? What? Titchery, Life is Strange, No Longer Home. Boyfriend Dungeon. Okay then. Best community support. No Man's Sky, Fortnite, Final Fantasy, Destiny 2, Apex Legends. I want to root for the underdog for No Man's Sky because that game was shit hot trash. It was definitely the worst game of the year when that came out. But I have to admit that it looks pretty good now. And I still think it's a little too expensive for $60, but I think I'll catch it on a Steam sale hopefully this weekend. With that being said, don't forget, Steam sales probably next weekend for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. But again, Final Fantasy has a great, strong community. We're starting to see a lot of the WoW streamers move over there. Destiny 2, Apex Legends, and Fortnite. Best mobile game, I could care less about this, but I am biased towards Pokemon, so I would say Pokemon. Best VR AR. Hitman 3, Expected to Die 2, Lone Echo, Resident Evil 4, Sniper Elite. I've heard some good things about Resident Evil 4 for VR. That's pretty cool that they have their own category now. Best action, Back 4 Blood, Chivalry, Deathloop, Far Cry, Eternal, don't care. Best action, again, I don't care for any of this. I hope Guardians of the Galaxy doesn't win. Best role playing, I hope that one can burn. I haven't heard of any of these either. Fighting games, I'm not big into fighting games. I heard this one was pretty bad too. Demon Slayer one was really, really good. You guys can watch Lethal Lightning's video on that one. Let's see. Nickelodeon's All-Star Brawl. That one, I heard it was like almost a one-to-one clone of Super Mario. Or, not Super Mario. Oh my goodness, why am I blanking on the... Why am I blanking on the game? Is it Super Mario Brothers? No. Super Smash Brothers. There we go. Holy goodness. Brain. My little hamster in my brain stalled a little bit there. Best family, It Takes Two, Mario Party Superstars, New Pokemon Snap, Super Mario 3D World, and WarioWare. Okay. I'm surprised did Super Smash Bros. Come out this year? No, I think it came out last year. So hopefully, again, I'm biased. Pokemon Snap, from what I saw, was pretty good. Best sports racing game. Okay, this one I am heavily wanting Hot Wheels Unleashed. Slightly biased, but I've seen a lot of people playing it, and it's one of those games that I actually want to get into as well, considering that you can make your own tracks in that game. Amazing. Best sim/strategy. Age of Empires, Evil Genius, Humankind, Inscription, and Microsoft Flight Simulator. So I don't necessarily agree combining these two categories because simulator games and strategy games are apples and oranges. This is a terrible category. There should be a best simulator game and a best strategy game, my opinion. Because how Age of Empires 4 with Microsoft Flight Simulator, that is horrendously bad. They're completely two different games. Totally different genres too. Because even if you look at Steam, they're separated into two different genres. Crazy. Just crazy. Best multiplayer, Back 4 Blood, It Takes Two, Knockout City, Monster Hunter Rise, New World, and Valheim. I hope Valheim wins that one. Hands down. Of all of my multiplayer experience this year, Valheim is pretty good, and Splitgate's been pretty good. But Splitgate's on here, unfortunately. But, yeah. Most anticipated game, Elden Ring, God of War, Ragnarok, Horizon, sequel to Legend of Zelda, Starfield. let's see. This is a tough one. Elden Ring, maybe. I've heard a lot of not so great things about Ragnarok. Horizon Forbidden West, I haven't heard of. This one's pretty up there for Nintendo. Starfield, I need to dive more into it. Okay, innovation accessibility presented by. Oh, okay. I don't care for any of these games. Content Creator of the Year, haven't heard any of these. Best esports game, I don't care for esports. And those games, no, thank you. Best esport athlete, don't care. Okay. So when we do our last stream of the year, so one tradition that I've done a couple years ago, and I kind of took a break from content creation, but now I'm kind of back with a vengeance, is every year I do my own Icey Awards, meaning the best things of everything of the year. It's my end of the year recap, and that's when I crown, in my opinion, the best movies, the best game, the best music, the best content creator, the best company to work for. I mean, every category under the sun I try to go through. And I just splurt out my opinion. That's basically what it is. My best of, so 2021. So we will do that this year for the best of things 2021. And I can't wait to do that. So that is something we can look forward to. And I probably will do it. So in the past, I normally did that stream typically on New Year's Eve is when I do that stream. So we'll probably end up doing it. You'll have a New Year's Eve special, and I'll probably do it earlier in the day so that way you guys can go party in the afternoon. So, but yeah, I can't wait for that stream. That's usually a fun one. That is usually a fun one. Okay. So kind of two last things I think we got to talk about. And I kind of want to give again another special shout out to Ricky, or to the Icky. His wife created some fan art, the wing hugs. So it went from design to actually becoming a sticker, which this was awesome. We actually have lore out there in the wonderful, beautiful community, and we have fan art out there. So if you guys don't know, wing hugs is kind of like my little trope type thing, my kind of catchphrase. That came from a social game called Second Life. I started it there originally, and then I just started to use it for everything. And it's kind of grown out of control, which is awesome to see. So it's nice that I was able to give you guys something for the community, and you guys just ran through it with the internet. So it's wonderful to see these type of things, and the little sticker there too. So it's wonderful to see. Wonderful to see. So I've got an awesome community growing, and I'm glad to be a part of it. So very, very humbled by that. All right, and then it wouldn't be an Icey cast stream with me without something space related, because I love space. So a little bit on the political side, but kind of something also really scary too. So this was the initial footage or the phone call of basically what happened was. Hey Kuruma, how you doing? But it's kind of something really scary that happened about a week ago. So Russia decided to do a quote-unquote test of anti-satellite capabilities. Now, as a result of that, the path was going into what's called a polar orbit, meaning an orbit that goes from the North Pole over the horizon down to the South Pole and in that direction. Now, what happened was when they did this test, the debris was going to intersect or come really close to the same path of the geosynchronous orbit of the International Space Station. So, as a result, the astronauts got woken up to this phone call. And before I do that, I will highlight this right here. Thank you, Avery. Thank you for the kind words, because you're an awesome. Wing hugs. Yes, wing hugs back. Wing hugs back. Greatly appreciate that. So this was a phone call. Imagine being an astronaut when you get this phone call.
Copy. Hey, Mark. Good morning. Sorry for the early call. We were recently informed of a satellite breakup and need to have you guys start reviewing the safe haven procedure. It's 9.21. We are planning on performing through Block 8, which will include closing the radial hatches. The time of concern is 0600.
Copy, 9.21. We're looking at
That's crazy.
through step 8, and including closing the lateral hatches, and time of concern is 0600. Okay.
That's a good read. We have a step on the ground to configure before you guys close those radial hatches. We will be sure to let you know when we are ready for you to perform your steps.
Sounds good. Thanks for the heads up.
So imagine waking up and getting that phone call. So safe haven procedures in very layman's terms is basically you guys need to start suiting up and get to the nearest quote-unquote escape pod. So they had a couple of Dragon capsules there. I think they got some Soyuz crafts that are there. But yeah, so basically the orbit of this debris was going to intersect with the International Space Station. So that was definitely definitely some interesting news, to say the least, considering that we just had all this Dragon space launches recently. Needless to say, all the countries definitely told Russia that that was a bad thing, essentially, in layman's terms. But yeah, the International Space Station almost got hit by debris. That would have been interesting for news stories, but yeah, that was pretty much the only thing space related that happened. I know we got some more. We got the official schedule for Starship from Elon Musk and SpaceX. They're going to be doing their first orbital test of the Starship, and I think along with their booster in January. So we're going to see some more tests, and then we'll see that in January, which I definitely want to. I want to see if I can stream that test, but typically the tests have always happened when I'm working, so we'll probably just get a recap at the on Saturday. So, but yeah, definitely some scary times. Scary times. All right, let me just make sure that I got everything here that I said I was going to say. Yep, I think that was everything I wanted to talk about for this stream. So, definitely, whew, what a week, man. What a week. From the SLOB versus the OBS debacle to the court hearing that we had. Going to see Ghostbusters. Again, strongly recommend watching Ghostbusters. That was a very fun film to watch. Strongly recommend it. Spiderman, got the new trailer. And then the scary moments in space. So, with that, guys, I'm going to call it a stream, because I really don't have anything else to talk about right now. And then I will see you guys next week for the Thanksgiving special weekend, because I will stream next Saturday. And yeah, I'll see you guys on next Saturday. And for those of you in the United States, because I do have to preference this because this is an international audience. For those of you in the United States, have a happy Thanksgiving this Thursday. Enjoy the feast, enjoy the football games, and I will see you guys next week. Wing hugs, everyone. Take it easy.
Well,